Hi everyone, so it's update time. Today is a Saturday and it is 7, 8, about 9 days after treatment, and that was day 15. So I think it's about day 24 of the second 28-day cycle, which means I'm about halfway through my expected Hodgkin lymphoma treatment. If you haven't joined us before, hi, my name's Alicia Louise Lillington. I'm a 33-year-old mum of a 15-month-old now, and I was diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma in March 2025. I've been documenting my journey. I've found that it's mostly friends and family that are following along and just wanting to stay updated on what's going on, but also my intent or hope is that, and it could be friends or family too, that someone out there going through a similar situation might hear my story and get a diagnosis sooner, or they may find something out that's really useful in the context of being a cancer patient or supporting a loved one with cancer. I think last time I posted, I was feeling really good. It was a couple of days, I think, towards the end of the cycle where, it was my good days. I did a bit of a photo shoot with Joanne, which was really, really fun. And I was starting to get back into work, and it was early days with work. I was feeling good. But after that, I had a bit of a lull and a dip. I think I sort of felt like I don't really want to be a cancer patient anymore. I want to get on with my life now. I'm very motivated, go-getter type person, and this diagnosis has put everything on hold for me. I also think that with cancer and these type of things, when you go through a traumatic event, you have a lot of support at the start, but we're 50 something days in now since I started treatment, and it's probably been about 3 months since I was diagnosed. And at that point, the support drops off. And I guess because I was posting some positive things a lot, maybe I didn't share those harder moments. And a lot of people said, oh, you seem like you're doing great. But I do want to give a realistic account and say that there's some very hard moments during this time, because I want to be realistic. That doesn't mean I'm not positive. I'm definitely positive. I'm definitely grateful. I have a lot of support. I feel very lucky that we caught my Hodgkin lymphoma when we did, that I've got a great support system, and that, I'm undergoing treatment in Australia. And there's so many great blessings there to be thankful for. But at the same time, it's still hard. And, I can't find many other people out there that share their story that kind of are really grateful and positive, but also realistic, and just this is hard. I think if you start to look into the challenges with chemotherapy and the situation of cancer, there's sort of people who can go down a negative path, and that can be very scary, because I feel the people around, who you surround yourself with, is the vibe that you get. So I want to surround myself with positive people, but I want to hear stories of other people with cancer. And you can just find the wrong information. And I think something that I've been doing too much is going and looking at stories of different people. I had my PET scan, which is at the halfway point. So I've been getting ABVD chemotherapy. Each of those letters stands for one of the drugs that I get via an IV drip every 2 weeks at the Canberra hospital. And yeah, so I've been getting that treatment. And so basically I've done 4, I haven't expected 8 rounds of chemotherapy so far. There's many different ways you can have chemotherapy as well. So I didn't really know that when I started, but you can get radiation, you can get chemotherapy via a pill, but mine is via a needle drip that takes about 5 hours each time I go into the hospital. Sometimes the hospital days start at like 10 and I'll be out by maybe 3:30. But lately the days have been starting about 11, then there's been delays starting at 12, and then I've been getting out around 5. Then it's like peak hour, trying to get back to my 15-month-old in peak hour, and then it's just that I find that really hard, and I'm really exhausted and fatigued in the evening. So that's a bit of a challenge that I wouldn't have known about. I've found last time I went to the hospital, I gave a bit of feedback on round 3, and round 4 was really, really good. They did a bunch of things and took on some feedback I gave them, because the previous times they had weighed me a lot, and that can be very triggering for some people and for me. They sort of at one point wanted to weigh me twice within 48 hours and 24 hours, and I just said, I don't like, stepping on the scales. I don't know too many people that's like a positive experience for. So yeah, some different feelings came up around that for me, particularly being in a, relatively postpartum state with my daughter only being 15 months old. So I just told them and tried to advocate for myself. And I said, look, I don't want to be weighed unless it's necessary. And I understand there's checkpoints where, you need to work out the volume of drugs to give for the weight, and I understand that, but I'd prefer not to know my weight. I prefer not to see it. I'd also prefer, if it's within 48 hours, that we could take the last weight. And they were receptive to that. I also had a situation where a nurse came into the room and trainees came in and back and forth. They didn't tell me like their name, they didn't tell me what was going on, and I just said, look, I really like to be informed. If someone's coming in, I'd like them to introduce themselves, tell me what they're doing. And I'm surprised that someone would come in and be part of a procedure and not do that. But the next time around, they were very communicative and told me what was going on. So I appreciated that a lot more. Last round as well, so round 4, I put on my wig. I put on pink because the days that I get chemo are Wednesday, and I used to have a thing with work and from Mean Girls, of course, that on Wednesdays we wear pink. So I wore one of my pink blazer dresses, and I felt a bit more like myself. But I'm finding it hard with wearing wigs because I've got 4 wigs now and they're very different. And I think finding your identity in the middle of chemo, in the middle of cancer, is a challenge. I've got new glasses as well recently. I'm just trying to figure out who I am. I've lost a lot of hair now. I'm not completely bald. I've still got hair underneath, but I've definitely got bald spots. I've still got the braid. That has helped me save some hair. So probably another myth or something that, I thought you might have to do when you get cancer is to shave your hair. I haven't shaved my head. I've still got hair. I think people mostly shave their hair because they feel confronted by the clumps of hair falling out and the hair on the pillow. But I really want to grow my hair after this journey. And so, if I can start with, even if it's a few sprouts, just like Homer Simpson, I'd love to start with something there. Rather than completely bald, but again, we'll see how we go. I was chatting to my lovely brother-in-law about losing hair, and I sort of asked him, what would you do if you were losing your hair or if you were going through my journey? And he said, okay, I'll do a fundraiser for you, which is so sweet, but it wasn't necessarily something that I was expecting, but I'm really, really appreciative of that. So he is fundraising for the Leukemia Foundation through World's Greatest Shave, and then secondly, a charity called Rise Above, which is a Canberra-based charity that provides support to people going through cancer treatment. They have been really, really supportive of me. They provide Woolies vouchers and like fuel vouchers to cancer patients when they might have, been out of work. Also something that crops up is that you get these invoices from the hospital. So you'll get these prescription medications on top of your chemo. The chemo is covered under the public system in Australia for ABVD, for the type of chemo I'm on. But there's all these supplementary drugs like a steroid and antibacterial, antiviral, those type of things. And at the end of the month, you fill out some paperwork at the start of your cancer journey. And there's so much paperwork, it's very, very overwhelming. And they'll just send you an invoice via email at the end of the month. And it's not a cheap amount, it's like $160. Considering it's for, these tablets and something you might not be aware of. They're not very transparent about those costs. I did get a call from a pharmacist at one point after my first chemo, just checking on any symptoms and things like that. But then it's just yeah, you've got this invoice. So I find that a bit challenging, but Rise Above has been very, very good in supporting to pay for things, incidentals like that. So my brother-in-law is going to shave his head mid to late June. He's actually dyed it blonde right now. I'm really grateful for that. And he has reached his target for what he was trying to achieve for the Leukemia Foundation. Now he's got a target for Rise Above. I might link that below and I'm going to share it because I think they're a great charity. They've helped me. I want to help them. And obviously, myself being a public speaker, as soon as I met them and chatted to them, I was like, one day I'm going to raise money for you and I'm going to do a public speech for you when my voice is back and share my case study and be an advocate and a brand ambassador. And when I was talking to that person on the phone, they were like, Alicia, just go through your own journey now. You don't need to be, doing all that. But we'd love you to speak for us and do that when we get a chance. But right now, just go through your own journey. So I think that's the hardest thing for my type of personality in going through cancer. I've always planned ahead and I've always known what's the next thing. And if I don't really know, then I feel a bit anxious. I like to journal. I like to write, this is my 12-monthly plan. This is my 3-monthly plan. This is my weekly plan. I have all the planners, all the diaries. And now it's hard to plan week to week. I have gone back to work, which has been a bit of a controversial thing to do, I guess, when you're going through chemo. But my hematologist has just said to take it as needed, and she has patients that do work. So it's really up to you as a patient if you're going through chemotherapy and what type of chemo you're going through, whether you can work. I've been very lucky that my work has allowed me to do flexible hours, and I don't think I'd be able to work if I had to do set hours and certain hours in the cycle that are just not working for me. So I've been doing Thursdays and Fridays from 7 till 12, and that has been very good. And it works well, just having those, and I know those set times. But then I had my PET scan on Friday, so I had to shift it around this week. The PET scan, I'll get the results this coming week, so in 4 days, because there's a long weekend. Again, there seems to be so many public holidays during my cancer treatment, and being a patient when there's public holidays is actually really annoying because you're waiting for test results, or you might need to go to hospital. There's limited staff, and doctors and people in the hospital will just say, oh, don't come on a public holiday, or we're not open. But your health doesn't wait for a public holiday, so that's a bit annoying. I'm just trying to be real with you, and because I just worry that people watch these and they're like, oh, you're doing great, you're doing fine. And I am doing well, but I just want to balance that with the challenging moments and the frustrating moments. And I want to remember what truly happened. I don't want to look back on this with rose-colored glasses, and I want other people out there to know what it's really like. And, maybe someone resonates and maybe you feel that too. I have been posting a little bit on Instagram. I posted about, the fact that I didn't know I had cancer when I was traveling the world in Italy with my little daughter, walking around Milan. And I posted about being on a game show. I was on The Chase Australia with Larry Emder right before I was diagnosed, and that was on my bucket list. So I think something that's become apparent during this journey is that if you have a bucket list or you have something you really want to do, go for it, do it. You just don't know. Like, I mean, sometimes you're like, yeah, like I've got 100 years, or you're not, but like a person is like, I've got 100 years. You might not have 100 years, and that's confronting, but you know, we might not. So it's better to just go ahead and do things that you love now. This whole journey has definitely put things into perspective for me. I really want to travel once I'm cleared to do so. There's things that I really, really miss. I've always been a swimmer and I really, really miss swimming. So I'm, you know, really looking forward to going swimming once I can. The reason I can't go swimming is just due to infection in like a public pool. It's pretty high risk of getting an infection from a public pool. Not that I knew that for like the 33 years that I've been a swimmer. I mean, I just swim all the time, and I feel like that's actually helped my immune system. But anyway, that's what you got to do for now, because basically they measure all of your different bloods and how your immune system's tracking. And at the moment, my neutrophils are really low. So I think they're supposed to be 1.8 at least, and mine are like 0.14. Basically means I have no immune system. So if I get a fever over 38 degrees, or if I am near someone that has a cold and I get a cold, it's straight to the emergency room, because I have no immunity right now, but that's okay. It's just for now. What else can I tell you? Yeah, I just wanted to share the frustrating time of the in-between. You're kind of halfway through, you don't know where things are at, but there's still another 2 months to go. But then also there's like after, and what happens after? I mean, it's not like I'm going to magically finish treatment and then be 100% myself again. There's so much that's changed, and I've definitely completely changed as a result of this. But I'd like to think I'm a better, more well-rounded person, and, you know, things that really matter to me, family, friends, they're the main things, health, they're the main things that really matter to me. And I feel like I've gotten a lot closer to my friends, a lot closer to my family. I've always been close to them, but it's just brought us even closer together. So that's quite positive. I mentioned last time as well, or one of the times in one of my videos, that just because you got cancer or you're going through a hard time doesn't mean that everything stops. I think, you know, there's always things happening in life that, you know, change and challenges we go through. Other family members have health issues as well. So yeah, perhaps sometimes I thought like, oh, I'll be right, like once I'm better. But during this season, like, I've had family members with all kinds of things going on, and friends as well. And then they want to protect you and don't want to burden you with their things, but like I want to be there for them too. So that's something to just to note that's going on as well. Sorry, my husband just texted me and then I paused, and now I'm gonna have to add this as a second video. Who knows? I think as well with my creative journey, I've wanted this to mean something, and you know, what is the legacy that we'll create from this journey. And I've had to let that go. I've had to say, I'm just gonna put my story out there. I don't know what the outcome is. I don't know if it's going to be perfect, and you know, maybe one person watches or maybe no one watches, but that's okay, like coming to terms with that, because I definitely, you know, being a communications professional, I like to look at analytics. How many views did we get? How many followers do we have? What are our KPIs? But with this journey, it's more about a feeling and about what you're putting out into the universe. And so for me, that is about sharing my own journey in an authentic way, sharing a different perspective that I haven't seen as much, and being honest, and not worrying. If no one watches it, it's okay. It's just like a creative release. And chatting, so I have 2 counselors. I was telling my cousin about this. I've got like a counselor who's really like a friend, and more similar to me. She's got a daughter around the same age as my daughter. She's a similar age to me. She lives in the same state as me. And we have really, really good conversations. I also was talking to her about the weight and the pressure that I feel as an oldest child, or just, you know, I feel like oldest children are always like high achievers, and I've always felt that, but perhaps I've put that weight on myself, and sort of feeling like Atlas, carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. And, you know, she said to me, is that really what you need to carry? And moving forward, is that something you can let go? So that's an interesting perspective to have, because she has been in a similar situation to myself. We also talked about boundary setting, which is, a good one to learn and chat through with a counsellor if you ever get the chance. I think I always like to volunteer and help people and do a million things at once, but when I'm unwell, there's certain things that I can't do as much, and I just need to set a boundary for that. My other counsellor is very short and sharp, and she's remote on the phone, and we spend less time together, but I kind of need her directness sometimes. And yeah, I'm going to chat to her in a couple of weeks. She sort of suggested we catch up a bit less, which is fine. We were catching up every fortnight, now it's going to be monthly, but I feel that's about right for me as well. So I guess counselling is a very important thing to do, to have as a support tool when you're going through cancer. I would definitely recommend it, and just generally I think having a counsellor is a good thing to have. I think that's mostly everything. I feel like I've been really close to my daughter, which has been lovely, and she's just, 15 months is such a beautiful age. That's one of the things I wanted to mention as well, is my counsellor, the softer one, was sort of saying, if this journey, because I was saying, what is my creativity for? What are these YouTube videos actually for? I'm doing all this writing. What if no one ever reads it? And she said, what about the legacy it will leave for your daughter? And I think that's so beautiful. And maybe you have a child too, or someone in your life you want to leave a legacy for. When I think of it like that, I have to share my story. I'd love to look back on, what my mum and dad went through when I was little, and some of the stories. I mean, we do have stories, but imagine if I had videos of them telling about, what day-to-day was like. And my little daughter at the moment, she never really walked, she just ran straight away. She's very, very active. She does like baby babble at the moment. We try to go to bed and she's just always talking. I think she's a bit like me. Lately we've been singing as well, and we sing like the 500 miles song, and we'll do like the call and answer of da 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 da. My voice is slowly coming back. I've always been a singer, and as you know, lost my voice during this time due to vocal cord palsy, but slowly coming back. I can slowly sing again. I tried to sing the other day in the car. I kind of want to sing now. It's a bit random and might be a bit embarrassing if anyone watches this, but I'm not sure if anyone would have watched this far. Okay, this is a song I used to sing, but I'm just testing my voice. I don't know how it is. Okay, let's try. Well, it's a marvelous... No, it's not possible. Let's see. It's a marvelous night for a moon dance with the stars up above your eyes. Don't have it. Fantabulous night to make romance 'neath the cover of October skies, and all the leaves on the trees breeze that blow, and I'm trying to please to the calling of your heartstrings that play soft and low. Anytime I touch you, you just tremble inside. I know how much you want me that you can't hide. Can I just have one more moon dance with you, my love? Can I just make some more romance with you, my love? Okay, I'm not usually that embarrassed to sing, but as you can see, my voice, well, you probably haven't heard me sing before, unless you know me really well. I can probably put a video up from a long time ago of me singing, or I've actually got a few songs on Spotify if you want to check them out. But no, my voice, my singing voice is not there. That is proof. Okay, well, I've shared all my deep thoughts of how I'm going. Yes, it is, I think it's like around between day, or I'd say we're towards day 53 of the whole, since I started treatment. We're definitely towards the end of the second cycle. The end of the second cycle will be in 4 days. So I guess it's about, day 52, 53 right now. Who would have thought, all these days ago when I was recording my first video in the car park going to the first chemo. And I'm sure, soon, well, it seems like a long time away because you've got to double that time again. That'll be towards the end of treatment. The next things I want to record are how I found out I had cancer. I really want to do a video about that. I think you'll be surprised with that journey. I also will give you an update after I get the results from the PET scan with the hematologist. And that's all for now. I hope you're staying safe and happy, warm if you're in Canberra or somewhere nearby. It's very cold. Stay warm, guys. Stay happy. Many happy returns to you. Does that sound weird? Always got to be weird at the end, guys. All right. See ya.